Going live in 5, 4.
Streaming live in front of a studio audience from the Juneau Live Studio at Resurrection Lutheran Church in beautiful downtown Juneau, Alaska. This is Juneau's Open House with Erica Lee. This afternoon, we're going to have an intro to the show, and Erica Lee is going to take questions from the studio audience about selling a house. Here's your host, Erica Lee.
Well, hello, Juneau. I am so happy to be back with you guys. It's been quite some time. I know that you noticed the real estate market this summer was bustling. It was burning up hot. So last season, we talked about how to present yourself as a buyer and what the buying process looks like. And that was really important because there was it was tough to buy a house this past year. Not everybody got one. But hopefully we helped you out this past season. So this season we're going to talk about how to groom your home and get it ready for selling a house. So today I'm going to take questions from the audience. I have a few questions that I got on Facebook from people who wanted to know a few things, and hopefully we'll cast a wide net of information today, and then for the following seasons we'll have a little bit more specific information that will address each issue. Okay, so I'll start with one of the questions that I got online, and one said, when is the best time to sell your home? So the best time to sell your home for us here in Juneau is going to be in the summertime. But I think if you know that you're going to sell your home over the wintertime, it's really great to start in maybe March or April. It's like right when that first blade of grass begins to show, people start shopping again, because really nobody wants to move in the snow. So once that snow disappears, it's time to put your house on the market. Now, if you do it in the beginning of the market, even if you start in May, you're gonna get some really hungry buyers. These buyers that are ready to buy, some of them are left over from last season, and other ones are just coming into the market for the first time. And so you're gonna have your largest amount of buyers during at the beginning of the season, which would be May or April, even March, it really depends on our weather. So the answer to the question is you want to sell your house in the summertime. That's the best time to do it, and to be at the beginning of the season. I'll take an audience question if you have one.
So Erica, if I start putting a lot of money into like fixing up the kitchen, if my kitchen's old and crappy, so should I put $50,000 in it to make it a brand new kitchen? Well, is that worth that kind of investment?
Yeah, so he asked, the studio audience member asked, should he put a whole bunch of money, he said $50,000 into a kitchen, will he get that back? Well, it really depends, and you gotta make really smart choices. If you are rehabbing your house, kitchen, bathroom, whatever, with the intentions of selling it, you need to rehab it in a manner that makes it commercially appealing, okay? It's not for you. That means you don't put pink tiling, on your backsplash, because that $50,000 kitchen is gonna suddenly be a nuisance and nobody's gonna want it. So, I don't know if $50,000 is the right number to put into a kitchen, unless you're gonna make maybe a chef's dream of a kitchen. But a really good guide to go by, someone once told me, is look in a magazine, find your favorite kitchen in that magazine, and try to take that as inspiration for your kitchen, because the people who put those designs in the magazine, they got teams of people to make sure that kitchen looks good for their audience of buyers of their magazine. So I would suggest, getting inspiration from what the pros are doing out there, if you are redesigning your kitchen to sell. If you want to rehab your kitchen for your enjoyment, I think you should enjoy it. It's your home. All right, I'll take a question from one of our online guests. Says, can I take my favorite light fixture with me? I really like that question because something that I always say is that light fixtures are the jewelry to your home. So it really adds the personality to your home. The answer to your question, or to the question, is yes, you can take your light fixture with you, only if you put that in your contract to begin with, or if once you put your house on MLS, you say these things stay. Washer, dryer stays. However, that light fixture in the living room that was done by the local artist that I paid thousands of dollars for, that comes with me. So you just need to be upfront about that if you would like to take anything that is that is a fixture. And just to let you know, anything that is fixed to the walls stays with the house. Okay, so your built-in shelves stays with the house. Your kitchen cabinets stays with the house, and generally your light fixtures stay as well, unless you say otherwise. Yeah. Okay, any questions from the audience?
How do you raise the money to put a down payment in a house? I mean, with COVID going on, there's so many grants. Is there grants out there for first or second time buyers?
Oh yeah, especially for first-time home buyers, there are grants out there that are helping first-time home buyers and tax breaks to get people into homes, because our nation does want to see us as home buyers, right? Also, there are special mortgages out there that help people. There's a mortgage out there, it's called HOPS. It's a mortgage program that will fund your entire down payment. So the only thing that you have to come up with is the funds for closing costs. And so there are a lot of stipulations in that and conditions, and one of them being that, you have to pay it back if you sell the house in, I think, 2 years. However, if you keep the house for 5 or 10 years, and this is off the top of my head, I have to double check. But if you keep the house for an extended period of time, that loan dissolves. So it really is a great program. There's only a certain amount of money that is funded to that program every year. And so you really want to talk to your lender and get a great relationship with that lender so that they can let you know if the coffers are full. And if they aren't, they can give you a call as to when it's time for those, once the money is there and you can take advantage of it. A lot of people took advantage of all the COVID help because there was cash put out there with all the stimulus packages and all that kind of stuff. And I did see people save up for down payments from their stimulus packages. So that's also, I don't know if that's ever going to come again. But there is another loan out there called a USDA loan that's unique to Juneau, and that with that loan you also don't need to put as much down for a down payment. And of course, if you're a veteran, you can also have a zero down payment. But not everybody's a veteran and could take advantage of that. So yeah, pinch those pennies and plan, and anything you can get to put in those coffers, just save, and see what kind of plans that are out there that you could take advantage of, because there is stuff out there. A lot of people don't know it, but there's stuff out there. Even if you have low credit too. I come across a lot of people that are like, oh, I can't buy the house, I don't have good credit. Talk to your lender. There are people out there, there are programs out there that help people that have low credit scores. So don't give up. I always, not just because I'm in the business, but I always recommend for people to buy instead of rent. Because if you're in a house for even if it's just 3 years, you have equity in your home. You will get money back when you sell that house. Whereas if you're a renter, you know, when you leave that house, you may or may not get your security deposit back. You know, you're coming from a place of power when you own your home. Yeah, so that's my speech, and I give it to all my friends. And you've probably heard me say it, friends don't let friends rent. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, let's see. So a question from our online people is, how long do you think it will take for my home to sell? Well, that's a really good question. For this past season, the average home stayed on the market for, get this, 8 days. 8 days. And, you know, I want to say that's just an average, because there were a few homes that had problems and they stayed on the market for 30 days, 45 days, 3 months. You know, they're problematic houses, and that brought the average up. But for a normal house that looks good, doesn't have any problems, I would say, without me collecting all of that data, you would expect it to stay on the market for 3 days. That's it. And that's only if the agent who is selling it is holding off offers. So what we were doing, or what people were doing this season, is that they would put the house on the market and they said, we will review all offers. They would put it on the market on Friday and say, we will review all offers on Monday. And so that would give people enough time to go see the house, and that also encouraged a bidding war. So the question or the answer to that question is, how long does the house stay on the market? This past summer, well, I'd say about 3 days if you have a normal house, normal Juneau house. In the wintertime, that period is going to be a little bit longer, just because shoppers start to get, what I'm experiencing is that a lot of shoppers are fatigued now, and they're tired of shopping and they're tired of all of the rejection. And my guess is that a lot of people plan to take a break over the winter and jump back into it right when that, like I said, that first blade of grass is showing. Start shopping again. Right? Do you have any questions from the audience?
Well, that's another
Yes.
question.
Oh,
With the bidding war, when you get in a bidding war, I mean, you don't want to pay more than what the house is worth. So what is your philosophy or opinion on bidding? Because you don't want to go, hey, I overbid this house by $100,000 or $20,000, and next thing you know, you're behind the 8 ball already in your property.
yeah.
So what is your advice on the bidding war thing?
Well, that's just what's going to happen. So, I mean, if you're in a bidding war, you need to be comfortable with the amount of money that you're willing to pay over asking. And what the trend is, and I'm just speaking generally, is that, agents are pricing houses at market value. People are not baiting people. They're not baiting the audience. They're not underpricing houses, hoping for a bidding war. And a lot of agents aren't even pricing houses high. It is at usually, there's a big disclaimer, this isn't always, so talk to your realtor, who could be me. But usually it's at market value, right? So if there is a bidding war, you need to be aware that you are probably gonna pay over market value for that house. And people are aware that they're doing that. I got an offer for one place that I had. They said, we are gonna pay $40,000 over appraised value. They know what they're getting into, right? They also needed a place to live. They were kind of homeless, So, you're going to pay over market value if you get into a bidding war. Now, that's a bit uncommon, maybe. It's very uncommon prior to this year to see things like that. And we're looking, usually if you're in a bidding war, it's like we're at $5,000 to $10,000. We're not talking about big numbers like $40,000. So just be ready for that. That's it. Or what you can do is, and it's so interesting because Alaskan buyers are so afraid of projects, I feel like. But another option is to get one of these less desirable homes that will sit on the market for longer than 8 days and just put that sweat equity in there. You most likely can get it under market value if you do that. Yeah.
Sorry, so you had a question that I interrupted? Go ahead.
Oh, interest for a loan on your house?
Okay, what is the right amount of interest for a loan on the house? You know, so that is not a question that I can really answer. And the reason why is because lenders are the ones that are gonna, figure out the interest for your home. It varies interest for the loan that you're gonna use for your home. It varies quite a bit. Depending on the loan that you're using. There's so many different types of loans. It also is going to vary with your credit score, and it's going to vary with how much money you put in for a down payment. So unfortunately, that's not a question that I can answer. It's not a general answer that I can apply to that. But, well, my best answer is check in with your lender, okay? And it's okay to shop around for lenders too. I think that's a really good idea, to shop around for lenders, because they're not all created equally. Yeah.
So with the market being so hot, I'm sure you're a very good realtor, but why do I need a realtor? Can't I just sell the house myself and save all that real estate commission?
Fantastic question. So he asked, why do I need a realtor to sell a house if the market is so hot? I mean, you could sell that house on your own, but what often happens is that people underprice their house, overprice their house, and I have picked up quite a few for sale by owners, and in fact, we had one on the show for last season. She was a fantastic story because she tried to sell the house for months. I mean, I think she was at it for 3 months. She had a full-time job at the same time, and she just wanted to save the money and not get a realtor. Well, she listed with me, and I don't want to tell her business, but she got a substantially higher price once she listed it with me, enough to cover my commission and then some. And not only did she get a higher price, but once she listed with me, it sold we had an offer in less than 24 hours. So what is to your benefit of using a realtor is that us realtors are a network. And each realtor, I think there are 82 realtors in this city. Each one of those realtors has 3 to 5 buyers, okay? So now, once that home is put on MLS, all the realtors are like, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up and tell my buyer about this. And so you have an entire city of realtors working for you when you list your home with a realtor. Not just one, but a whole city. So it's most beneficial to use a realtor. Also, I see people who don't do the right things when they list a house. And it's a very awkward thing when I walk into a house. And I call this the crinkle nose test. I mean, your friends don't tell it to you, but when I walk in the house and my nose does this, that means it stinks a little bit. Okay, so and that's okay for you to live with that, but when it's time for you to sell your house, you need somebody who is not nose blind to your personal funk or smell, or it could be a good smell, whatever, to tell you, like, you need to get rid of that kitty litter, clean it out, or, this, that, or the other. Or, I have a house that I'm about to sell, and I'm like, please get rid of this lighting fixture. And it doesn't seem like it's much, but the lighting fixture was gigantic. It was the first thing you saw when you walked into the house, and it was from the 1970s, So you need somebody to come in and be honest with you and be like, these are the things that you should do if you want to sell the house, quickly and for more money. And this is in order of priority. So if you only want to do 3 things, I suggest that you do these top 3 things because it's going to have the greatest effect on how quickly your home sells. So I always suggest, get yourself a realtor.
What are the top 3 things you said? You did mention, what are the top?
Oh, the top 3 things. So you asked, what are the top 3 things to do when you're trying to get ready for selling a home? So, it's going to vary from home to home, but something that I always like is first, make sure it smells good in there, because people are walking in there and they want to feel like home. They want it to feel like home. And the hardest thing as a realtor, because I've been in sales for many years, very long time. Houses, sunglasses, jewelry, legal services. I've sold all of it. But the hardest thing with houses to negate when I have a buyer is it just didn't feel right. You know, I don't know how to get around that. I'm like, it has all the rooms that you need. It has the bathrooms that you need. It has a large yard, but it just didn't feel right. That feeling is a funky smell, okay? That feeling is that the old paint is on the wall, okay? That feeling is it doesn't feel like home. So your job as a homeowner is you are selling that house and you need it to feel like home. Okay, and you can accomplish that by making sure it's clean, by making sure there's fresh paint on the walls. That goes a really long ways. If you have it in your budget, get some fresh flooring. Our carpeting is really cheap, makes a really big difference. And this is before we're talking about updating. And so I should do an episode on this actually, on how to get your house ready in a very affordable way. But let's say you have the most awful floors, tiling on your floor. There are things that you can put on your floors that could be temporary, like something, it's called floor pops. I love floor pops. But it's a peel and stick tile, and they're really sturdy, and they stay in place, and they are beautiful. And it freshens up your home like that. It's a one-day project, But those are the things that will help your house sell. Do some landscaping, Call somebody if you don't want to do it. Cut your grass, trim the tree. But anyways, all that to be said, it's just making sure you can get that visceral feeling of home. I can raise my family here. It's really important. Yeah.
So I know I probably need to get rid of my tchotchkes all over the house, my troll dolls. But is it worth going through the hassle of staging my house, like removing furniture, putting in storage, and getting fake furniture and things like that? Because I've heard that's worthwhile doing.
Yeah. So he's asking, is it worth his while to stage a house? Yes, it is. But you'd be surprised that you can stage your house with what you have around. Okay, so you were saying getting rid of your furniture and get fake furniture. Well, you might have a couch that's ugly and put a very nice throw on there and some throw pillows. I do see buyers that get distracted by a lot of personal pictures, especially here in Juneau. I haven't been a realtor in any other city, but I feel like here in Juneau, everybody knows each other by a separation of 1 degree, right? So a buyer walks in the house like, oh my gosh, that's that dude from high school that used to pick on me, And then they're so distracted by their past and what this dude did to them, that, they stop looking at the house. So I do find that it's nice to bring down some of your personal pictures and maybe put some artwork up instead, or just leave the artwork up. I find that to be a distraction, but yes, it would be nice for your house to be staged. The less stuff on your countertops, the better. And one person said if it could fit in a toilet paper roll holder, get rid of it. It's junk. Pack it away. It's not junk. I'm sure it's wonderful and beautiful for you, but take it off of your countertops. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so this is a question that my sister's a realtor in Texas, and she called me. And she said, oh my gosh, she's kind of new at it. And she called me, she said, Erica, she calls me sis. She was like, sis, so the inspection is happening, but the sellers don't have the utilities on. Do they have to have it on? She's on the buying side. I'm like, yes, they do. In our contracts here in Alaska, homeowners are required to have all of their utilities on during inspection and during the final walkthrough. So in her case, the person had their gas cut off. In Texas, the gas is on a grid. Okay, I told her, I said, here, we got our gas right next to our house. So, tell them to turn on the switch, But no, the gas company had turned off the gas. So, for us, that would be maybe your water or your electricity. You need to make sure all of your utilities are on when it's time for an inspection and when it's time for that final walkthrough. So don't get too zealous in turning off all of your utilities once you get that offer on the home. You need to continue to pay those bills until it closes. All right, we have any other audience questions? No? Alrighty. Well, guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to Juneau's open house. I will be back with you guys in about 2 weeks, and we will have a special guest who's going to teach you how to sell your business. That's going to be exciting. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. Bye.